During my time working with these elite people, I've had fireside chats with them, many hours worth, talking to them about how they feel about the real problems that people face on the ground level. And not one of them cares. Not one of them cares about what happens to the people. It's the reason why, even with all of the abuse and the setup that I went through, that I turned my back on them and closed the door and left. Once I experienced true elitism, that people truly feel that they're better than other people, I couldn't work with them anymore. It became impossible. During my time as a massage therapist, I worked with some of the most powerful, elite people in the world. I had no idea what I was stepping into, how much trauma I would really be enduring, and how close to danger I'd be living in. It's not easy for me to share stories of the things I've experienced, but I do that in the hopes that if anyone else is out there working with wealthy people that are high-level elites, that you come prepared and you know how to protect yourself. I see the culture at large that looks up to these people, that glorifies them, that worships them and deifies them, and thinks that they are the ones that are going to somehow change their lives for the better. But in my experience, I have seen things that disprove their capacity to do that, their desire to want to do that, and the vacuum that they live in that takes everything for themselves. My hope is when you see the nannies and the caregivers, the chefs, the maids, the massage therapists, the servants who serve people that live in these private elite enclaves, you will understand what they are going through. You will understand what they're suffering from. You may want to reconsider feeding your own children into enclaves like this. I had only been out of massage school for a few years when I had been working to rehabilitate injuries with athletes and high-level people who were weekend warriors. Somehow the word of mouth got out about how much intuitive knowledge and technical ability I had as a massage therapist to heal things that people didn't know could be healed. I had billionaires coming from all different places, real estate developers, movie directors, high-level global capitalists, super mega yacht owners, tech entrepreneurs, VCs, movie stars, you name it. People were coming from all over the place on word-of-mouth referrals towards me. So I really wasn't prepared for the success that I achieved quite early, but I understand it because I worked from a level of deep intention to heal and understand the dysfunction happening inside of someone's body and emotional state. I worked with my clients for many years. I became an intrinsic part of many of their families, careers, decision-making, secrets, struggles that they were working with. They came to me not only because of my techniques and my ability to heal them, but because they really appreciated the advice that they would get from me. I was given a status that other people in service to them were not invited to. It made me feel respected and appreciated. It made me feel like I was accepted by them, that I was a kind of friend. And I worked hard at keeping boundaries in place, because when you work with people from this level that are used to buying anything they want and having people worship them and look up to them and glorify them, they tend to become very attracted to you and will try to see if there's an opening to get you to say yes to them in some sort of scenario. So the boundaries for me were very important, that they always knew that that was never an option on the table, and that mutual respect was what was required in order to maintain the friendship and relationship. It was already difficult enough surviving financially working with the world's wealthiest people, because I'll let you in on a little secret. They're not generous people. They like the people that are around them that need them to continue needing them. They're not interested in paying you what you're worth because there's a deep insecurity in these people. They like you to be starving, not hungry, starving. They particularly preyed on those of us who were alone in the world, who did not have the ability to advocate for ourselves. We didn't know how to speak up for what we really deserved. We were too gracious, too kind. They love looking for people like that. When you meet the nannies are all like that for their children. Gracious, kind, patient, enduring. Every nanny I ever met in any house, I would try to talk to and make a connection with. And everyone would have a story that would break your heart about how they had left their children behind in a different country and they hadn't seen them for sometimes 10 years, sometimes longer. And their children don't even remember them and they don't make enough money to go back home. And sadly, once the children that they had been raising for these clients had been grown, they would just cut the nanny loose. No severance pay for the nanny to maintain life. These people who care for the super elite are living in poverty, and they are working for people who have never experienced poverty and don't even understand what that feels like. They don't know what it means to not be able to pay your light bill, to be afraid that you can't make your mortgage or your rent. They have no ability to be in touch with what most of us suffer on a daily basis and worry about. And they have no interest in that kind of conversation. It's traumatic working for people who are that powerful. It's traumatic emotionally and psychologically because you feel like you're working with someone who wants to take from you as everything that they can and nothing less. And by the time they cut you loose, you are just so deflated because they have taken all of your energy from you without any gratitude. But you do what you must to keep a roof over your head and to stay surviving. What I didn't understand as a naive therapist was how they work in groups, how they will source a human asset that they can then bargain off to their friends for status and extra favors and have their friends try to exploit you in different ways. You think that they're trying to help you, they're trying to do something for you, and you're like, thank you so much. This really means a lot to me. I really need more clients. And then you get there and you realize they're setting you up to be abused. And it's the biggest heartbreak because you're all alone in the world. You don't have any friends or family to help you. You are barely surviving, and every house you go to is just another setup of what can I get from you? How much more can I get from you? This massage isn't enough. I want more. And because they do have these demanding super egos that are very easy to trigger, if you advocate for yourself and say, no, I'm not going to do that, they get really childish and threatening. It's a scary position to be in because you're in these mansions, sometimes in guest houses, face to face with somebody who could absolutely harm you and take what they want, and nobody would believe you. And so it's always this scenario that you have to be so careful to not get them too upset at you because they can do whatever they want to you and you have no way to prove it. No matter how hard you work for them, it was never enough. It was always let's try this. Let's take it to the next level. Okay, now I'm going to give you to my friend and see what you do with my friend. And I was being offered trips to Cannes Film Festival. I was being offered trips to islands. Let me take you on your plane ride, my helicopter ride. Let me take you here and there. Oh, I own all this string of high-level restaurants. I'll get you in. We'll go hang out with all the celebrities. It was a constant trick game of what can I get you to owe me for? Even their wives and their girlfriends, they will also traumatize you. I've been drugged by people who wanted to violate me. They would invite me to a party and say, oh, come and hang out with us, and we're going to have a gathering of our friends, and it's going to be a nice night around the campfire, and we're going to have food and a nice dinner. And the next thing you know, you're drugged. And I remember waking up and hearing that this girl wanted to have with me, but she was mad that I had passed out on this drug that she had given me. And her boyfriend was saying, go ahead, take her to the room, take advantage of her. She won't know. And I guess she wanted me to be more alert. And I was conscious listening to this, but I pretended to be asleep. And then as soon as I had motor control, as soon as I could move my legs, I woke right up and said, I have to go. And I ran out of that house. I'm so grateful that I do have a very strong red flagging intuition intact, because I always knew that there's nothing for free. If you take anything, if you take so much as a French fry from these people, you owe them. I just want to caution anybody out there who is working in these enclaves, don't ever take anything that you haven't earned, because it's a setup and they are tricksters. I call them the great pretenders, because they are constantly pretending that they're a certain way. But once they take that mask off and the moment of truth comes where they're asking you for what they really want from you, you come to realize that person they were playing the role as to get you into this position doesn't exist. And they are now facing you with who they really are, which is a monster that wants to take everything from you, all of your dignity, all of your freedom and autonomy, the joy of your being, the peace that you have within, and the ability for you to protect yourself. They want to take all that from you. They are very insecure. They are the most insecure people you would ever meet. It's quite the opposite of how they portray themselves on TV and in media. They tend to gloat around like they're the greatest people on the planet. When people are applauding them and taking pictures of them, they feel enlivened with their narcissism. They feel important, relevant. It gives them a sense of superiority that they crave. And so you will see this super confidence emerge from them when people are looking up to them. Mainly because they are so supremely insecure. I remember working on one of my famous movie directors, and every time I would drive to his house, I would just start crying. I had so much anxiety to go to his house. He was always trying to manipulate me to put me in a position where he would be able to have with me or get me to touch him. It was very demeaning. This narcissism in him was so huge. He needed constant validation, hand-holding, reassurance. He was always just a nervous, anxious wreck who couldn't sit still and was completely insecure at every level. He just would almost maul you for any kind of attention that he could get. And it was draining and exhausting. By the time I would get out of there, I would just be in trauma shock. Like, I narrowly escaped again. I would just be frozen and scared and just so afraid to go back, because every time I'd have to go back there, it would become worse and more aggressive. I can't tell you how many times and how many ways that these people will set you up. They are not to be trusted, the wealthy elite. They can't help themselves. They were born in environments that were competitive. They weren't exposed to compassion. They don't know their humanity. They were not raised in an environment where compassion and being decent and being a good person was applauded. If they feel for themselves and get what they want and can be self-sustaining in that mode, then they were applauded for that. They grow up thinking that whatever they want, they should be entitled to getting. Some people will play this game with you. Other people will just expect it and put you in a very bad scenario if you don't give it, because they have no ability to handle the word no. And they don't know what it means to have to negotiate with someone that it doesn't have the status that they feel that they can respect. They're very competitive. They enjoy high-risk behaviors. A lot of them enjoy gambling because they need that thrill. They don't really care about the money. The money, whether they lose it or gain it, they don't care about that. They really just care about the status they get, that someone owes them something, that they get to look down on other people, that they get to feel superior. Each of them have this voracious appetite to feel superior above others, and they will do anything in their day-to-day lives to feel superior, even if it means hurting somebody, being cruel, unfair, unkind. They'll do it so that they can manufacture this feeling of superiority. It doesn't matter about fairness. They have no remorse. They were raised in environments that didn't require them to self-reflect. And so they have no capacity to self-reflect, and they have no appetite for those who do. In their world, everything is a game. It's a game of getting. The only time you're going to see them give is when it's a setup, when it's a trick for them to get something over on you, to own you or control you. What you give away when you give them what they want, when you go beyond your boundary line and you allow yourself to be exploited, is your ability to feel good about yourself. Your ability to know that you are valuable, that you don't have to be exploited. You give up your sovereignty. You give up your ability to say, I did this without having to take the exploitive road. I feel proud of myself. I feel that I've achieved something that's truly difficult but valuable. When you give them what they want, it undermines your ability to have self-respect and self-value. We are all affected by these people's decisions, either directly or indirectly. We live in a world that they have created. My billionaires brag about not being able to spend all of their wealth for at least 10 generations. This is how wealthy these people are. It's beyond the level that most of us can understand. And you don't get wealthy like that unless you're slanting the tables in your favor. They know how to rig the system. All these people come together in these small communities and they do their business. They do their networking. They do their co-investing. It's a very small community around the world that owns everything. I know a lot of us don't know how to make that right. We don't know how to fix that. But one thing we can do is stop glorifying people who are living at that level, because they truly have a mental and emotional unwellness about them. During my time working with these elite people, I've had fireside chats with them, many hours worth, talking to them about how they feel about the real problems that people face on the ground level. And not one of them cares. Not one of them cares about what happens to the people. It's the reason why, even with all of the abuse and the setup that I went through, that I turned my back on them and closed the door and left. Once I experienced true elitism, that people truly feel that they're better than other people, I couldn't work with them anymore. It became impossible. Everything in my body started shutting down, even just thinking about working with them. And it took me years to accept just how cruel people like this are. I believe in the goodness of humankind. I've seen it. Whenever there's a natural disaster, people come together. They help each other. Climbing that ladder, it gets you further away from humanity, from love, from connection. It gets you further away from the truth, from fairness, from forgiveness, from all the things that make life so beautiful and deep and meaningful. Climbing that ladder is the worst thing you can do, because you get further and further away from joy and peace and inner contentment. I want nothing to do with that environment. It's okay if I'm never going to be a mega rich person. And it's okay for you not to think about being a mega rich person either. Because the truth is, if you became a mega rich person, you would lose everything. Everything that makes life worth living. I have yet to meet somebody at that level that's happy, that feels truly at peace and is actually happy with their life. They can't do that no matter how much they have, no matter how many trips they take. It's always an emptiness. So I want to leave you with this. Focus on what you can do to make your life better and the lives of those around you better. And if you're a person that's experienced these enclaves, I want to hear from you. Message me or leave in the comment section what your experience is. Together, and we share experience and our truth, we can make this world a safer and better place. But it's important to come out of the shadows and share our truth. I'm Dawn the Empath. I love you all. I look forward to hearing from you. Be well.